During the pandemic, I was reading a lot of books about ancient history and military history. And one of the first books that I picked up was The 20 Decisive Battles of the World, which includes Syracuse. And each chapter has a nice little story about the decisive battles of the world. This one is about the Sicilian campaign, and it covers the entire campaign. And it has nice maps, including the siege of Syracuse. And this got me into wargaming. Now, there are a lot of games on the siege of Syracuse already, including this one from Turning Point Simulations, which is still available. And it has a nice map of the area. Here's the Great Harbor, Ortigia. There's the Temple of Olympus. And here is the hill, Epipolae. And there are other games like this one, which was in Vivictus magazine, which has a nice area map. Epipolae, there's Syracuse, Ortigia, the Great Harbor. This is a very good game. And much more recent is this game from Worthington, which has a solitaire mode and a two-player mode. And this game is also just on the siege, the harbor, Ortigia, the hill of Epipolae. And of course, there are a number of battle or tactical level games from the ancient area, like Trireme. This is the old Avalon Hill game. And newer games like Withered or On It from Hollandspiel has 3 battles from the Peloponnesian War. And there are strategic level games on the Peloponnesian War, like the Solitaire Peloponnesian War game by Mark Herman, which covers the entire war, including the Sicilian theater, and of course, Mark Herman's other game, Pericles. So there are games on the siege of Syracuse, there are battle level games, and there are strategic level games. But what about operational level games? Epipolae is an operational ancients game on the Athenian expedition to Sicily using the Levy campaign system. It has the kind of things that you'd expect in the Levy campaign game. You've got command cards for your different commanders. You've got an Art of War deck, which features events on the top and capabilities on the bottom. This is the Athenian deck. This is the Syracusan deck. You've got a point-to-point map. So you have Syracuse over here where Hermocrates starts. And you can go along the island. Here's Segesta, Leontonoi, Naxos. You've got the calendar. It's seasonal turns, so spring, summer, autumn, winter. These are for the next year. And then there's a year track, 415, 414, 413 BCE. Now, historically, the 3 Athenian commanders each had a different strategy. Nicias wanted to basically just take the fleet, the Athenian fleet, and just kind of parade around the island and show off the majesty and power of the Athenians and then head home, because his heart wasn't really in it. Now, Alcibiades wanted to basically go around city to city and diplomatically convert them to the Athenian side and have an overwhelming diplomatic alliance to then take Syracuse and thus the whole island. Now, Lamachus was more of a soldier, and his opinion was they should just go straight to Syracuse and immediately attack it and take them by surprise. Unfortunately, the Athenians couldn't really decide right away what to do, so it was a poor mixture of each of their different strategies. But in this game, you can choose one or all. You can go straight to Syracuse. You can try to diplomatically convert these towns. You can take them by storm. And what happens is you come in from Greece doing all sorts of different things. Hermocrates is all by himself. And he can try to raise some allies, but he's basically got to hang on. And over time, when the Art of War events, some of the Art of War events have this Alcibiades symbol on them. And when the Alcibiades symbol is revealed, you put down these tokens or a marker, counter of any kind. And after 4 tokens are revealed, well, then Alcibiades, he gets recalled to Greece, which is historically part of the campaign. He was recalled on a number of charges. And when that occurs, then, and it typically happens most often in autumn, but it could even go to next winter. But when that happens, 2 turns later, 1, 2, you're able to bring in allies from the Peloponnesian League, so from Sparta and Corinth. And if you elect, as the Syracusan player, to pull in those reinforcements, then 2 turns after that, whenever it happens, the Athenians will be able to bring Demosthenes into the game. So the recall of Alcibiades will slowly escalate the conflict. But what will happen is the Athenians will start with their 3 lords, their strategoi, and over time, they will lose Alcibiades. They'll be down to 2, and maybe the Syracusans will have more, and the tide will turn and shift. So as the Athenian player, you want to gain as many points as you can in the early game, because the tide is going to turn against you, and the Syracuse and their allies are going to have strength towards the end. So can the Athenian player win or build up an insurmountable lead before the Syracusans get their chance? Now the game features mats for each of the commanders. Just like a normal Levian campaign game, you have assets like carts, provender, coin, ships. You also have units like hoplites, skirmishers, which include peltasts and slingers, things like that. You have cavalry, which the Syracusans had a distinct advantage in this campaign. And you also have triremes. And there's a unit chart that tells you how to conduct combat. You start with ramming, then naval, which includes grappling, deck fighting, that kind of stuff, cavalry, skirmish, and then melee phase. And what happens is the naval battles happen simultaneously as the land combats. So in the naval phase, could be that the Syracusans lose a trireme to ramming, and at the moment ramming hits, just completely destroy the vessel. And then through deck fighting, maybe the Athenians have a ship routed, and maybe this ship is also routed. Now, when that happens, if there are remaining naval vessels, the Athenians could elect to have their ships come ashore, and the crew of these ships can act as skirmishers. So they're not fully armored hoplites or anything, but they can throw a stone, they can throw a spear or a javelin. And as forces get routed, it's typical Levian campaign until someone decides to concede the battle. And because the Athenian expedition included the siege of Syracuse, you can conduct sieges. So here's Hermocrates besieged by Lamachus. Here's Gylippus maybe coming to approach and do relief. Got Nicias over in Megara, Hyblea. But you've got siege walls and you have counter walls. Because in this era, you wanted to build up siege walls in order to circumvallate a city or your opponent, to basically starve them out. And if you were being besieged, you might conduct counterwall construction, or you might sally out and attempt to destroy some of these siege walls. And if you have more counter walls than siege walls, then on the command chart, there's a list of actions that you can take when you are able to break out of a siege. So in summary, there are a lot of strategic and battle level and siege level games on the Siege of Syracuse. But if you want an operational level game on the siege, then you might want to take a look at Epipolae, which is on the P500 right now. And you can explore why it is one of the decisive campaigns of the ancient era. Thank you.